In response to the rejection of the appeals, a petition was circulated. It called for both appeals to be upheld and for a special general meeting to be convened. It was signed by approximately 600 students.
Basically, we'll see you at a general meeting because that's where this motion is going to in terms of the Palestine appeal.
So what happens at a general meeting?
It's basically every student at the University of Melbourne can vote, and hopefully a lot of them will vote on the issues that the general meeting will bring.
So, what can a general meeting do?
It can direct Students' Council or any other committee to make any decision within its powers. It can discipline officers, dismiss officers. It can, change budgets. Basically, it can do whatever it really wants.
Initially, there were 3 items on the proposed agenda for the special general meeting. These were: UMSU money may not be spent on campaigns unrelated to students, relating to matters of foreign policy, or donated to external non-student organisations which are not registered charities or tax-deductible gift recipients, without the prior approval of a referendum. No officer or other representative of UMSU, in their capacity as a representative of UMSU, shall campaign on matters of foreign policy or international conflict, without the prior approval of a referendum, and shall not make use of any UMSU resources for that purpose. To suspend the representative positions of Ona Bishop for 3 months for moving to ignore the wishes of over 600 signatories of the Uphold the Appeals petition on falsified constitutional grounds and contempt for the needs of average students. This motion was later withdrawn. However, a student council meeting was convened for the 20th of April, the day before the special general meeting was organised to take place. Independent media councillor Brendan Thomas Noon explained to us how events around the council meeting unfolded that night.
Basically, it was deadlocked straight down the middle, and myself being an independent member, I was one of the ones that wasn't accounted for. So one side boycotted the special general meeting and one side didn't. And the numbers were such that if I went to the meeting would attain quorum, and so the special general meeting for the next day would be pushed aside. If I didn't go, then the special general meeting would go ahead for the next day.
But you did go to the meeting. Could you explain why you went?
It's an interesting question. In the end, I disagreed with the actual text of the constitutional changes that were being proposed. The most obvious example, I just really didn't agree with this. It was such blatant text that the exact change was that the union could not lobby or demonstrate on foreign policy initiatives, and I think that's just painting such an issue with such a wide brush. A good point came up in the council meeting that the Environment Department would not be able to lobby on anything they do outside of Australia because it's a foreign policy issue, really. So it just didn't really make sense. It was too wide, it was too breadth.
Still though, how democratic is it that 10 people were able to override the will of 600 signatories?
Well, that's a good point, and I think it kind of shows the problems that are mainly associated with institutions such as this, such as the union. The council that I'm part of and that a lot of other councils are part of is quite powerful. They're able to call meetings and dictate the course of the union. It just kind of makes it so much more important that students vote for representatives that they believe are going to do a good job dictating their student union and governing it. And basically, you just got to vote for who you want in and just make sure that they're the right representative.
The council meeting voted to postpone the SGM. However, the student body was not informed until the next morning. Unaware of the previous evening's events, many still attended.
Well, the student council meeting, which unconstitutionally, in my opinion, which may be something that goes to grievance tribunal, tried to cancel this meeting. No union staff were allowed to conduct a ballot, and so they basically boycotted, made sure that none of our voices could be heard, and ultimately this is just going to keep going and going and going until they actually listen to us. Until they listen to us and until they respect our opinions.
And what has happened up there on Uni Bar balcony?
Okay, one of the office bearers who has been fighting the good fight and has been the most hard-working member.
What's his name?
Chris Closter.
Chris Closter, yeah.
Activist. He's the activities officer. He got up there and made sure that he told everybody gathered here, at least 300 people, exactly what he thought about the way that the union is being conducted at the moment, exactly what Stand Up's doing, exactly what Activate is doing, and exactly what Socialist Alternatives is doing, or as I call them, the Unholy Alliance. He got up there and he said exactly what was happening. Then he was shouted over with a megaphone by Socialist Alternative, and then the whole thing ended in glorious fashion, in my opinion.
Almost a month since the postponement of the special general meeting on the 20th of April, no new date has been set for a new meeting concerning this issue. Surrounding his involvement and handling of the motion pertaining to Councillor Ona Bishop, General Secretary Sean Koo was threatened with legal action, prompting the Office of the Secretary to release an official apology. At present, the postponement appears to be indefinite. Essentially, the events of the last month have highlighted the major divisions within the union and the wider university community over what the role of the student union should be post-VSU. With limited funding, can it afford to have a stance on issues such as the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? Should it be solely dedicated to the matters of the Melbourne University students? Where do we draw the line between what is and what isn't a student issue? You, the student, can make your voice and opinion heard by voting in student elections, writing letters or articles for Farrago, getting involved in clubs and societies, or organising demonstrations. So where do you stand?